'Cause these are the best days. These are the best days. These are the best days of our lives. Of our lives. Yeah. These are the best days.
My goodness, welcome everybody. We are so excited to have you here. Thank you so much to everyone who's been tuning into our previous episodes. We are having so much fun making this show for you guys. And we're just really grateful for every single listener that we have. And it continues to grow, which is really fun. If you haven't shared our show with a friend, please do. Post it in your Instagram stories or something. We would really love for as many people to enjoy this fun show as possible. We have a really fun format for today. Adam, do you want to explain it a little bit?
All right, so we're gonna play a pretend game, and the pretend game is we're calling it the firsts. So either the first thing that comes to our head or the first time we did something, and we have a bunch of topics. I put them in this online spin the wheel spinner thing, and it will randomize the things that come up for us. So we're not picking what we're talking about in the order that we're talking about it. And we're going to just talk through the amount of time we normally record for. So we may not get to everything, or we might, we don't know. There may be sound effects in this. So if it's corny, just know we're having fun.
Don't hate us for having fun.
Yeah, don't hate us because we're beautiful.
Exactly.
All right, so are you ready to? I want to say the
Spin
Wheel of
the
Fortune
wheel.
songs,
Oh my
Wheel
gosh.
of Fortune.
It's the Wheel of Firsts.
All right, here we go. All right.
Oh my gosh. What a way to start. Oh my gosh.
All right. We got to tell them what it is. All right, the first thing that came up was our first car accident.
I've never really been in an accident, but I bumped somebody once. That's the best I've got. So if you have a better story.
Yeah, I do.
Perfect.
Well, let me tell you. So when I turned 16, my friend and I were going to, I think something silly, drive to rent a movie. How ironic. And I was backing out of her driveway and I hit a parked car. Yes, thank you. My first car accident was hitting a parked car and caused $1,000 in damage. So that one isn't that exciting.
I was ready for you to hit a deer in reverse. That's what I was waiting for. You put it in reverse and you hit a deer.
Nope, that didn't happen.
Bummer.
The other one that was really stressful and still kind of gives me a little bit of anxiety to this day, I was 20 or 21, and I was 20. I was 20, and I had started a new job, and it required me to go to the Twin Cities a couple times.
Oh, okay.
This is when the bridge that went over one of the rivers collapsed. So there was a whole bunch of detours and the traffic was really awful. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was
I don't think I do.
Okay. Well, it was really, really bad. There was literally an interstate and one of the bridges collapsed.
In Minnesota?
In Minneapolis, I believe.
Oh my gosh. No,
Yeah.
I know nothing about this.
That would have been 2007 or 2008.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so not that long ago. So anyways, I was driving home after working a week or whatever in this place I didn't, that's not where I lived. And I was young and I was in stop and go traffic. Well, I was paying attention, but the person behind me was not paying attention and rear-ended me. And then I rear-ended the person in front of me. So I was in a 3-car fender bender. So that was really fun. So
that sucks.
When I drive today, I'm very, 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 very mindful of
how stupid people are.
Yeah, the people in front of me and behind me. Sometimes you forget about the people behind you. This is just a reminder that when you drive, you should always pay attention to everybody. And then the police had to come. It was a whole ordeal. So they have, because this happens so frequently, they have like car accident site things all over the interstate. So you get off the highway.
Like a kiosk?
No, like just like a place where you can move the vehicles to.
Oh.
So you're not like
pulling over for like
Yeah.
a scenic view, but instead it's
but
an
it's
accident.
specifically for these types of car accidents.
That sucks.
Yeah. So my like back bumper was like half off. I don't know. It was like dragging on the ground, I think. And it made like a really weird sound. And we were trying to cross 8 lanes of traffic because we were in the left lane and we needed to move to the right lane.
Oh,
So,
sure.
Anywho, and I hit a deer after I had just bought a new car.
That's how it always goes. Oh,
That sucks, but that wasn't like traumatic or anything, but it was just annoying. All right, ready to spin the wheel of
Yep.
whatever we're calling this? All right, Lizzie, what's this one?
first time at a hospital minus being born. So this isn't just like a doctor's visit. This is like maybe an overnight in the hospital, or
Sure, it's whatever comes to your mind.
I would say I was 20. Yeah, I was 20 years old. And I had my tonsils out, and I had spent like an entire semester of school like super sick, and I had like really bad grades because of it. So I just like was in contact with a doctor, and basically I was like, I am done with college on this day. I need surgery like immediately. And so I think like within a week of coming home for my summer break from college, I had my tonsils out, and honestly, it like changed my life. Like my health was wildly improved after having my tonsils out, and I had a fairly like good experience. We learned that I don't do well with anesthesia. They give me too much. And so every procedure I've had since, I'm very assertive about being given very little anesthesia because it's very hard for me to wake up.
I had my tonsils out when I was 25 or 26.
Oh man, did they give you a hard time for being older having your tonsils out? Because they were like, oh, you're older, this is going to be harder, you're going to have a bad recovery, which I kind of did, but
I mean, I did too. It was true. I didn't get them in a hospital. It was more of a surgery center,
oh, okay.
an outpatient thing. So
Mhm.
I wasn't actually in a hospital, so I'm not
Okay.
counting that. But I had my
Sure.
tonsils out when I was 26, and it did change my life as well because I was really sick, and it was really silly. And I'm still kind of joke at my parents / like make them feel guilty that I should have got them out when I was a kid. So I actually I was born with what's called a trigger thumb.
Oh,
I don't really understand it other than I think I was like, basically like my thumb was crooked. kind of.
okay.
So I had surgery on that when I was like 3 or 4.
Do you remember?
Oh yeah, it was super traumatic.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like in the hospital, and the anesthesia at that time in my life was like made me really sick.
I'm so sad for you.
I can still see the scars or like where they cut on my thumb.
Wow. What
Yes.
did they do?
I have no idea. Every once in a while though, like if that thumb ever feels weird, I'm like, oh God, is something wrong with my crooked thumb?
Did it affect if you were right or left-handed? I'm curious.
I was right-handed and this was my right thumb.
And it didn't like stop you from being right-handed?
No, I think I had surgery early enough in my life that it wasn't really a part in that.
Okay.
But what made the surgery really traumatic, the parts that I remember, I'm assuming it in this point in the 90s, so this would have been probably like 91. It was not an outpatient thing. So I was like in the hospital, and then they discharged me, and I like couldn't keep anything down. Then I had to go back to the hospital, but the surgery was in a different, like a bigger city. So then I went to the hospital in the town where I grew up. And all I remember is I was in this like crib and I was like not a baby.
And you're like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Like, I don't think I was even in anything like that in my house, but they wouldn't, I was like thirsty and they wouldn't give me anything to drink because I couldn't keep it down. But I was like, I'm thirsty. And that's all I remember.
That's so sad. I'm really sad for you. Oh.
Yeah. But other than that, I've never broken any bones or had to go to the hospital really. Well, I had a kidney stone a couple years ago. That was really, really awful. But that's really the only time I've been to the hospital.
Wow.
All right. Let's go to the next one.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. What was your first car?
Mine was a red, very little Chevy Prism. So that was it was a Chevy on the outside, but it had a Toyota engine. Like, it was something made by Chevy, but basically, like, it was also made by Toyota.
What year was it?
It was I think it was a 2000. And my parents bought it from my next door neighbor for me in high school. And I drove that car over like the Bighorn Mountain Range almost every weekend. My parents always wanted me home on the weekends in college. And so I would drive 3 hours one way over the Bighorn Mountains in this tiny little red car. I was never in an accident. I survived so many things in this tiny car. At one point, the summer we got married, my husband and I were sharing the car. We shared it in college too after his like truck broke down. I am super grateful for that humble little car. It was not fancy. There was nothing like super duper about it, but it had low miles. It got pretty good gas mileage. It got me where I needed to go. And I finally sold it just a couple years ago. I think I sold it in 2018. I think, and used the money to that was like my starter fund for my business. And here we are today,
wow, that's
full-time,
cool.
Self-employed, working from home.
That's
because
very
I sold
full
my little red car. Yeah.
That's so funny. My first car was a little red car too. And you're going to laugh when I tell you what it is because it's going to sound very similar to yours. I had a 92 Geo Prism.
Wow. I know exactly what that looks like. Oh my goodness.
It was a car my dad drove and then I got it.
I'm really loving, just in my mind, the picture of your dad driving a little red car.
It was a 4-door Geo.
That makes me really happy.
Yeah. I remember when he bought it from some lady, it was just a really weird transaction.
I feel like that's the family way with cars. I feel like that's how everyone in our family acquires a vehicle. It's always a little weird.
My dad's really good at buying cars.
That's fantastic.
I'm not. He gets things for a deal and I probably pay sticker price, so.
Yeah, I've definitely paid sticker price for more than one vehicle, I think. Yeah, I can think of 2 vehicles we paid sticker price for.
All right, let's see what's next. I don't know why it keeps going to these. So, what was it like the first time you drove a car?
Oh,
Or where was it? Tell me about that.
Oh boy. I don't think I'm going to share the first time I drove a car. It was a rough time.
All right. You do you.
With the parents teaching me how to drive in the woods. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to dive into that. But I remember very specifically the day I got my driver's license and drove by myself without an adult for the first time. I was terrified. My family, the home I grew up in is outside of town on the top of a big hill. And I don't know why I was so terrified, but I was really excited that I had my license and it was in the summer. I was also a little bit older. It took me a longer amount of time to get my license just because driving was very intimidating for me, but I'm not ashamed for getting my license late. But it was the summertime, and our hometown has like an enormous free outdoor pool. And so I drove me and my sister down into town to go to the pool. And that was my first like driving
It
without a
wasn't
grown
to
up.
school?
No, because this was summer. It was summertime. And then my
Okay.
parents bought the car for me. I remember it was in the fall. I think it was the fall of my junior year because, yeah, I remember it being in the fall. And I was like totally surprised.
Nice.
I had no idea. It was really fun.
So the first time I ever drove a vehicle was actually with my grandma in the cornfield.
Yeah.
So my grandparents live on a farm, so there was nothing that I could hit in this big empty
For
cornfield.
miles.
Right. Do you remember they had a big blue Astro van?
Wait, we had a big blue van. I don't think it was an Astro, but
Yeah, it was not. It was an Astro.
they had a blue van? Your grandparents?
Yeah, they had that van for a really long time.
I don't recall. I think all I remember them ever driving was like sedans.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A car.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't have driven that across essentially the country to come see you.
The Midwest.
Right. And then vaguely remember the first time I like drove by myself. I don't know exactly what it was. It was probably like driving to school. My parents didn't buy me my car when I turned 16, which, you know, it is what it is. But the other thing at my school, sophomores couldn't park on campus because they didn't have enough parking.
What?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Specifically sophomores.
Right. You had to be a junior or a senior and you had to pay for a parking pass. I mean, it wasn't that much money. It was like $5. Yep.
Oh, that's nothing compared to what I paid for parking passes in college.
Well, that's different. This is high school.
Wow.
So we had to park like a block away from school on the street.
I'm sure the neighborhood loved that.
Oh, I know they hated it.
If I was a homeowner in that neighborhood, I would be like livid I would be the person like yelling for kids to get off my lawn.
Well, you were literally kind of like, I mean, you know, you had to walk to get there.
My gosh.
Why not? Well, so there was a couple places that you could park, and one of them was by a park, so it wasn't too neighborhoody. But the other was, and I usually parked in that spot because less people parked there. But anywho, good story.
Anyway,
All
that's a
right,
good
let's
story.
see what's next.
I hope it's about a car. Oh! The first time you felt like you were different from everyone else.
I don't know why I put this on here.
I think that's a good one. Okay, honest moment here. I'm an Enneagram 4, and one of the like stereotypical traits of somebody who's a 4 is they know that they are very unique and desire like uniqueness always. And so I don't know that there was a time I didn't feel different from everyone else, but it was probably like elementary school, like maybe first or second grade, maybe. About that, I'm guessing about that age, that like I started to realize I was raised more like conservatively than other kids just because they like were allowed to watch cartoons that I had never heard of, or they like had toys or just experiences that like I was completely like unaware of. But I don't think that's everything I'm thinking of. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing that I didn't like know about those things.
Yeah, this wasn't necessarily like bad things. I mean,
yeah.
Because a lot of times when you grow up, you're like, you want to be like everybody else
Yeah.
to fit in.
And like at least at the elementary school age, I don't know that fitting in mattered to me as much as like I just like, as long as someone played with me on the playground, I was happy. And that was good enough for me.
Yeah. I don't necessarily have any specific scenarios of this, but I don't know. I always was like very different from everybody else. It's just how I felt growing up.
Sure.
I don't know. I wish I had something more insightful to say about that or any specific examples, but
You probably weren't as different like as you felt. Like it probably seemed bigger to you than to everybody else.
I don't know. This is like one of those things I'd have to think about before I talked about on here. So I have like something more insightful to say. I don't know, but like in elementary school, like my best friend was a girl. So
Sure.
like that was different.
But were you like happy with that friendship?
Oh, yeah. I didn't care.
That's really great.
I don't know. I don't think I did. But anywho, I don't have anything great to say. Let's move on.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Adam, do you have any tattoos?
No, ma'am. So I have nothing to say here.
Really? Oh my goodness. Okay, I have a tattoo, everybody. Watch out. Like I've said in previous episodes, I'm very cool. I have a very like trendy tattoo on my left arm of like a big, well, not big, it's like medium sized, kind of botanical style olive branch. It's really pretty. I love it so much. My husband took me to get this tattoo. I like spent years like planning it, like deciding, like thinking about it, like making sure it was exactly what I wanted. And it like symbolizes like tons of really important things to me, but like if I could just like boil it down and summarize it, I would say that like this tattoo is a symbol of like I used to struggle really badly with like being a like bitter person, and olives are like naturally very bitter, but they go through like a very like harsh refining process before they become olive oil. And so it was just after a season in my life where I felt like I had been through like a really hard refining. And so it's just like a reminder that like I used to be a bitter person, but I've walked away from that and I choose just to not like return to the person I used to be. But the like experience itself of getting a tattoo, like it was totally no big deal and I would totally do it again. I have a design in mind for that would like kind of match and mirror on my other arm, but I'm just like not 100% like I want to like I want to spend another couple years thinking about it.
My question about this is,
Yeah.
knowing your mom and dad, what did they have to say about their baby coming home with a tattoo? That was visible, I'm assuming, because it's on your arm. It is.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it was January around my birthday when I got it, and I visited in February, and I don't recall like any like positive or negative reaction from my dad, but my mom responded like positively, and I sent pictures to my brother like on the drive home after I got the tattoo, and he was super impressed and proud and really liked it. He has a couple DIY tattoos, so
oh, nice.
I think
yours is a little more thoughtful.
A little bit.
I mean, I don't know what his are, but yours sounds very thought out.
Yeah, mine was very, very like intentional, very thought out. And the artist was like fantastic. Like, wow, he did everything like so perfectly. Like I couldn't ask for anything better. And I love how like the artist was really thoughtful about like just the organic shape of the tattoo in relationship with the organic like curves of the forearm. And so he placed it like perfectly. So it doesn't look like a temporary tattoo just got slapped on there. Like it looks just like very organic and like meant to be, which I love. I have never gotten a bad reaction like to my tattoo. If anything, like I like it when people ask me about it because it's an opportunity to tell them about like just the transformation in my life. And that has been like when I worked retail, that led to like some beautifully like meaningful conversations with a couple customers just because they asked about my tattoo. And I will like always appreciate that.
Nice. All right. Spin the wheel.
Okay.
First place you lived where you had an actual lease.
Perfect. How about you go first?
Okay. This would have been the first time I moved to Des Moines in 2007. I had a roommate and I don't know. We were living in an area of town that I don't enjoy today. It's just developed into a lot of retail. It's just too many people. And they're like out of town people. And yeah, it's just like, I don't like the area. The place is still there. what I liked about the property and why we got it versus something else, because it wasn't the cheapest, which I don't know how. I don't really know how we afforded. I think it was probably, I didn't have like a car payment. I didn't have a lot of financial responsibility at that time.
I think that's how you end up affording your first apartment.
Right. I like that it had an outside entrance. So you didn't like have to walk into a building and then go down a stinky hallway where everybody else walks.
Ugh. I've lived in so many of those kinds of places.
Same. And it's like, well, we know who's cooking and what they're cooking or what they're smoking.
Yep, exactly.
So I like that about this place. And the other thing was you didn't walk in to like the combined kitchen, dining, living room that there's like so many apartments that I've lived at. It had an actual like a closet right by where you walked in. It was just a very nice place.
More like a home.
Yeah, for my first apartment. And we both had our own bathroom, which was really nice. Yeah, it was like a really nice first apartment.
That's great.
Yeah, I lived in much not nicer places after that, but it is what it is. And it had a pool and I don't know.
Okay, so it was really nice. It was an apartment with amenities. Okay, that's nice. You can't deny that.
It was nice.
Woo.
It wasn't like the nicest place that you could buy, but I don't know. We really liked it. And they let us, or no. They painted accent walls for us. So we just told them what ones, and I don't know if we had to pay for it, but we had some accent walls. I don't know. It just didn't feel as apartment-y as it could have.
Sure. I feel like that's the case. Oh my gosh. Stop.
I know.
Talking.
My house, I don't even have that in my house.
Oh my gosh. We have lived in enough like crappy apartments that like it's not worth discussing. I've had so many bad neighbors and bad apartments, but I love where we live now, and it's actually making it kind of hard. Like we're really close to probably becoming homeowners in the next like year or less, maybe. We'll see. It's really hard for me to imagine leaving this apartment because it feels so much like a home and not an apartment. And we don't necessarily have amenities, but we live near like a really it's truly like the nicest coffee shop in town. There's like a brewery next door. There's like restaurants, and like the view is like truly like there's no better view in town than the view that we have, and we get to see like amazing sunsets every night. We can walk next to the creek, like there's beautiful trails. Management is like super professional and wonderful, and I could really just it doesn't have a fireplace or a pool or anything, but like I just love I really love where we live, and even like becoming a homeowner, like we're probably going to build. And so even like building a new house, it's like, I'm going to be happy and excited about it, but also like, it's not going to have the views. It's not going to be like in a like wonderful location. I love where we live right now, and it'll be hard to give it up, but that's okay.
My first apartment was really nice. I definitely lived in places that were nowhere near like this. And I had really awful neighbors, and actually the roommate I had at that place turned a little crazy. I think it was probably on both of us.
Oh, man.
Then we like didn't talk for a really long time, but we're not friends. We're more of acquaintances now, which is fine. I feel like that's most of adulthood. And this was like 15 years ago. And 15 years ago, the world was a different place.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This was just a developing area at the time. So it's kind of funny to go there now because I'm like, oh, that hotel wasn't there. That Target wasn't there. That all of this wasn't here. It was a really developing part of town, which was, I don't know.
That's kind of this place that we're in. Like, we're not going to get like a hotel or like a Target or anything. It's going to be like more like locally owned stuff because that's like a huge focus in our town. But yeah, like definitely like this is the up and coming like area on this end of town. But the place we're going to build our house is also like becoming like up and coming and developing. And I wouldn't be surprised if like in another 10 years there's a Target, or like there's certainly going to be hotels in the new neighborhood just based on like the location and just like what's being built in addition to the neighborhood we're trying to get into, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine with me.
All right, let's spin the wheel.
Oh. First time doing something that scarred you for your whole life.
Oh, I was scared.
Scared.
Something that something you did that you were afraid of.
You'll always be afraid of ever since.
And then, or maybe you're not now. I don't know if I really have anything to say about this.
Huh. Oh, this maybe requires a little bit of thinking.
I mean, the first time I went on a roller coaster, I really didn't enjoy that. Even after it and during and before, it wasn't something I wanted to do, but
I'll probably never get on a roller coaster again. It's fun when you're 13, not when you're 30.
Right. All right, let's spin the wheel.
Oh, the first time you were punished in school. Oh my gosh.
Do you remember? You want to go first or you want me to? Mine isn't it's not anything I'm proud of. I mean, from probably both sides.
Sure. You go first.
Okay. I specifically remember in first grade, I got in trouble because I cheated on a spelling test.
In the first grade?
I don't even know how I did it.
That's bold.
Thank you. It's how I live my life. I don't know if I don't even know what I did.
Do you know what word you were hung up on?
Nope. But I got in a lot of trouble. And the other time was, I don't know. I don't know if I did something on the playground, but when you got in trouble at recess, you had to go to the wall.
Oh, yeah.
I went to the wall one time.
I think our school did something like that.
It was really stupid. It's not effective.
Oh, man. I don't recall this event, but my mom has told me this story a couple times. I think in hindsight, I think the kindergarten teacher I had, she was just ready for retirement, but just hadn't retired. And she was maybe just a little salty about kids. I don't know. She didn't like me. And so kindergarten me, the first half of kindergarten, my mom was very pregnant with my brother. And this is according, I don't remember any of this. According to my mom, I told the teacher, the kindergarten teacher, that I saw my brother's arm hanging out of my mom's belly button and that
What?
And I also recall I had a very specific name I wanted to name him. Oh, but we didn't. I know my parents didn't know the gender because it was a surprise. Okay, so I'll tell that story in a minute about the name. So anyway, the teacher was very irritated with me being dishonest and making up stories. And my mom thought it was hilarious and was I didn't get in trouble. I don't recall any of this, but I am certain I had a reputation for telling tall tales like that. Probably because I just wanted a reaction.
How did your mom find out?
The teacher told her because she was so this is what my mom told me, but apparently the teacher was very disappointed about how dishonest I was.
Okay, Karen.
I'm telling some kind of funny story. Oh my god.
Karen needs to retire.
Oh, she retired a long time ago, but I mean, she needed to retire in the 90s, but.
Is she still living? Because I feel like I
probably. Yeah, I'll hook you up with the deets. The second part of that is my hometown would interview kindergartners every Christmas time just because kids say funny things. And so the newspaper would interview every kid. So their school picture would be in the paper. And then the short little question that the newspaper person asked them would be underneath. And then they would put in the answer. And the question, and my mom has the newspaper clipping in a memory book somewhere. And I have the cheesiest little look on my face. Oh my gosh. The question was something like, what do you hope that Santa brings you for Christmas? It was something about Santa, but we didn't do Santa growing up. And so I just made up something. And I said something about like, I want a baby brother. My mom wants to name him the name that she named him. And I said, but I want to call him Joshua Francis, but call him Junior for short. I don't know where I came up with that name. That's not like a family name at all.
Do you
like,
call him that?
No. There is a name that we like, that is a family name that he occasionally like pretends to go by. That's just for fun. But yeah, I said that like, I'll name him Joshua Francis, but call him Junior. That is specifically what I told the newspaper person. I'm sure I probably got in trouble for that from that same grumpy teacher too, but I really don't care.
That's so funny. Okay, well, these are just so interesting. All right, let's see what comes up next. First time out of the country.
Have you ever left the country, Adam?
I have. Not anything super exciting, but I have.
Where'd you go? What'd you do?
Oh, I've been to Canada several times.
Oh, I think you told me that.
My aunt on my mom's side, she still lives there, near Buffalo, which is near Niagara Falls.
Oh,
so we
that's
have,
cool.
Yeah, we've been, before you needed a passport to go to Canada, we've been to the Canadian side of the falls. And then we've also driven.
That's so cool.
Right. I know we drove through Canada to go home once, like to take a different route. So I don't know if we like it came through Michigan or how that exactly went.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, I've also been to Canada. I don't know what Providence this is, but it's like whatever's above Minnesota.
Oh, I should know this because when I worked retail, we would get buses of people, directly north of here.
I don't even know what the town was, but
I don't either.
Like, it's not a super, it just is like where we live now. Like, it's like the United States. And then the cool place I went in Canada was in Quebec when I went to Montreal. That was really fun.
That would be very cool.
Yeah. And we stayed in like old Montreal, and it is very much like what I think France is, because I have never been.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Have you been out of the country?
I have. Apparently, I think we're only 8 hours away from the Canadian border. So like, I've told my husband several times, like if we are like just in the mood for like a I don't know, spur of the moment road trip. I've never been further north since we moved to South Dakota. Like I have never been to North Dakota.
Like you've never been to North Dakota in your life?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
That's fine with me. Like there's nothing I need up there.
I've been to states closer to where you've lived than I've lived.
That's fine.
I've been to North Dakota. I mean, you're not missing much. But you've been to Montana.
Oh, yeah. So like the furthest north I've ever been, I drove through Montana to go to a wedding in Spokane, Washington. And so
nice.
went through like northern Montana. That was, I think, the furthest north I've ever been, ever.
Nice. So where have you been out of the country?
The first time I left the country was I went on a like church mission trip to Mexico. And that's where we learned that I don't do well on airplanes and I need to be like pretty medicated, not out of anxiety. I just have like, I get car sick, which we all knew. I don't know why I just like skipped joyfully through the meadow to the airplane as if I was never going to have a problem.
Okay. Were you the person on the airplane that actually had to use the puke bag?
Yeah. Like a lot.
I got car sick growing up, but I didn't have this problem in an airplane. But I could see how you could.
Yeah.
And it's like a little more intense on an airplane, I think.
Oh, sure. I had no idea what to expect. It was my first time on an airplane. It was my first time leaving the country. I had no clue. I found out a few years ago I have Meniere's disease. And so that like greatly affects like the equilibrium in your ears. And that probably explains why I was always car sick as a kid, no matter where we went, how far we went. It happened all the time. But my time in Mexico is probably just not worth unpacking. But my husband and I went to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic for it was our 2-year anniversary, but like kind of a delayed honeymoon. And that was exquisitely wonderful.
That was a fancy trip.
Yeah, we really love like planning details like really thoughtfully. And basically we did such a good job on the like all inclusiveness. Even our plane tickets were included. Like we truly just showed up to this resort and like didn't have to spend any money. Like we paid a little bit extra to be like on the adults only side of the resort. So it meant it was a lot quieter. It was cleaner. There were restaurants that were adults only and not for like any like scandalous reason. It was purely just for like peace and quiet and avoiding like
I
being
would pay
bothered.
for that.
And it was, I think, like this is what's crazy, is I think we only spent like $50 total like per person for that upgrade. And it was like so worth it. Dude. Oh, and there was like a private like adults only beach too. And that one, I think you could be like nude or topless, but I don't recall seeing anybody naked on the beach, but it was very like clean, very quiet. And the like side of the resort that allowed kids, it was so wild. We only went over there once. It was really crazy.
Those are the things that are birth control.
Oh my gosh.
When you're like really need to think about that, like,
yeah.
At that time in your life, hopefully that was the moment you're like, we're not ready for kids.
Right. This was a while back. Yeah.
Would you have only been like 21 or 22?
Yeah, actually. Well, I was definitely 21 because like this was all inclusive. So the drinks were included. So we intentionally like tried drinks we'd never tried before. We like always ate food we'd never tried or like had never heard of. Like we made sure we like always tried new things because you didn't have to pay extra for anything. So we made sure to like have as many like unique experiences as we could. We did pay extra once we got there for like an excursion to go snorkeling. Oh my gosh, there's even a YouTube video. My husband put a YouTube video of our snorkeling excursion and we like stuffed like empty water bottles full of bread and bananas because the tour guide told us to. And when we got underwater in the part with the snorkeling with the fish, we took the cap off of the water bottle and we like squeezed some of the bananas and bread out and there was fish everywhere all over us. It was insane. It was really cool.
Panic attack.
It was like, I don't recall like feeling any fish touching me. And I was wearing a GoPro. Like I filmed the whole thing. It's on the YouTube.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
I'll send you a link, but I don't know if I'm going to post it on the Instagram. We'll see.
That's okay. I need it for my...
And we got to swim with nurse sharks too. Yeah. So like we got to snorkel with fish and nurse sharks are like bottom feeders. So they said as long like we could swim around with them, as long as we didn't like swim down to them, they weren't going to care or come up. Oh, and there's manta rays too. They said, yeah, just don't approach the manta rays. Don't approach the nurse sharks, but you can swim around with them all you want. And so we did. It was very cool.
What's next? First time at a theme park. Now I'm just going to put in my 2 cents that I really hate theme parks. And I hate roller coasters and I hate all of that stuff. What's the point? Do you have an insightful answer to that? Because I don't know.
I don't know if I have an insightful answer. I know that like I did roller coasters for the first time when I was 13, but like honestly, I'm not interested in ever doing it again, which is fine with me because I throw up so easily.
That would be so terrible. Like,
yeah,
on a roller coaster.
It's pretty bad. My insight is, well, my husband has, like, it is truly the deepest desire of his heart to go to Disney World. he is so passionate about it. He's never been on a roller coaster. He's never been to a theme park. He's never been to like anything like this. And we were 2 weeks away from going April of 2020, and then Disney shut down and canceled our entire trip that we had been like planning. Like we had bought our tickets a year in advance. We'd already bought our plane tickets. Like our hotel room was booked. Like all of our transportation. Like we'd made all of our like fast pass reservations, all of our food reservations. Like we were ready to go, and we'd already paid for everything.
Did you get your money back?
We got all of our money back except for the airline screwed us over and didn't give us anything for the plane tickets, because I'm sure everybody, like this was when everything got shut down. So I'm sure like everybody in the country was trying to get refunds on their plane tickets. So, but we got the tickets for cheap, like to go from Denver to Orlando. I think we'd spent like $280 on our flights. So, but we'd gotten a hotel room because it was an early morning flight. We'd gotten a hotel room in Denver for like the night before. So that didn't get refunded, and the plane ticket didn't get refunded, but everything else did. And then there was a really horrible hailstorm in June, and we had to use our Disney World money to replace my vehicle. So we still have not gotten to go to Disney World, and my husband reminds me on a weekly basis how passionately he desperately wants to go.
Well, I've been to Disney.
In Florida or California?
Florida. I haven't been in California because I don't enjoy these things.
I've been to the one in California.
I've been on a couple of roller coasters at Disney.
Okay.
They were like indoors. So
oh, yeah.
I don't know why in my head it wasn't as awful, because you like couldn't tell what was going to happen because it was dark. But I still didn't enjoy that. And it still gave me great anxiety before, during, and after it. So
why were you at Disney in Florida if you don't like theme parks? How did you arrive in this situation?
High school band trip.
That's how I went to the one in California. High school band trip.
So I don't remember what park we played at, but we did do a parade at one of the places.
I had this identical experience.
Yeah. Did you take a bus, I'm assuming?
Oh, we chartered a bus from Wyoming to California.
How long is that?
I want to say 26 hours.
That's disgusting.
We left, I recall leaving in the afternoon from Wyoming and then driving straight through the night and arriving in Las Vegas early in the morning to have breakfast at the Circus Casino.
Nothing says Las Vegas like a bus full of high schoolers.
At a buffet in a casino. Only to get back on the bus that smelled horrific to get to California.
Now, is it just one bus?
Our band was so big we had to take 2 full, like, at capacity buses.
We had 3.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think ours was like 20 something hours, but yeah, anywho.
To go from Iowa to Florida? Oh my god.
Yeah, it takes like 20 billion days. I would never do that. All right.
Oof. Should we do one more?
I don't know. See what really depends what comes up.
Let's depend if we like the next one.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's see.
I had a feeling it was going to be this one. First day of college.
I can tell you mine, but
say it.
So I went to a big 4-year school. I don't think I had like walked or even knew where my first class was. I knew what building it was in.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really know the campus. So like, I mean, it was a big-ish campus. I don't really know how many students were at this school, but I think it was sociology. And the professor was a weird lady.
They always are.
And it was in a weird old building. I don't know. It was just nerve-wracking because it was not like a fun class, and it really wasn't.
Oh, sure.
I don't know. I just remember it was super nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I was pretty scared too.
I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know.
You didn't know any people.
No. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have any? What was yours?
Mine, so I went to a really small community college in Wyoming, and one thing that this college did do that I thought was really nice to like help kids feel more comfortable on campus was like you moved in, but then like you moved in on like a Thursday or a Friday, but school didn't start till Monday. So they had like a whole weekend of like activities and just like ways to like get acquainted with like the campus and people. And yeah, so I don't necessarily remember my first day of classes, but I think to the best of my recollection, remember like maybe it was the first or second day of just being on campus, me and three of my roommates, we went to like the barbecue that night, and I remember sitting on the lawn in the shade in like a circle with like other people. So it was me, my three roommates, and just like an assortment of other students, and we were just like eating in the shade on the grass. And everybody was passing their phones around in a circle, giving each other like their numbers. But I was like still thinking college was full of stranger danger. All of these people turned out to be really, really nice, like no problems. Like I liked all of these people. It was totally fine.
I'm laughing a whole bunch on the inside.
Because of my my stranger danger fears, my phone was in my pocket the whole time, but I said I forgot it in my room. And I didn't give anybody my number. But to the best of my recollection, I think that was the first, I'm very sure my husband was in that circle of people. And I think that's the first time we met. Like he and I don't recall like a real true like first meeting because we like had overlapping friend groups. So we kind of just like knew of each other. But like to the best that we can recall, we both think that was probably the day, like if there was a first time we met, it was probably that circle of people on the grass passing their phones around.
So this is like August, September of like right out of high school?
2010, yeah. But we didn't start dating till January or February. It was like February, like after. So that whole that first semester, we were like just friends. And then after Christmas break, we decided to start dating. And
Aw. It's smart to start dating after Christmas because then there's no pressure
exactly.
of gifting.
Exactly. Which is another story I will unpack not on the podcast. I'll just tell you someday.
All right.
But what was I going to say? Oh, but yeah, we have been like together since 2011. It's really crazy. Yeah. Wild times.
Let's do these last ones as just really quick.
Oh, like a lightning round?
Yeah. Okay.
I was 13 years old. Oh, first Starbucks drink. I was 13 years old and it was a Java chip Frappuccino.
Nice. I don't know what I got for the first time at Starbucks, but I used to like hot mocha something a lot. I think like a mocha latte. I didn't know what I was ordering. We didn't have like a Starbucks where I grew up.
Me either.
Ooh, here's a good one.
Yeah.
So without giving names, your first prom date.
My first prom date, I was a sophomore and he was really nice. Like it was just like a friend from youth group, like all through high school, like all my prom dates were just like friends from youth group. My high school boyfriend never took me to prom, so I just went with friends. And sophomore prom was really fun. Me and my date and like a whole group of kids just had like a big like potluck dinner before prom. Like we didn't go out to eat. We just had like a big fun dinner that the parents helped with. And it was really fun. And probably, I think that was like, I looked the prettiest at that prom. Like I looked really good.
Mine's not as good of a story. First prom date was I was yearbook editor with another person, so we were co-editors, and we went to prom together because her boyfriend at the time was in Iraq in the army. So
oh my goodness.
We went to prom together.
That was really sweet of you.
And then my senior year, I went with one of my best friends. So, all right, let's see. Do you have anything on this one? The first time you felt old.
No.
Okay, I do. So I worked in pharmacy for a long time, and the first time I felt really old was when we got a prescription for a female. It was for birth control. And I thought it was an error because I didn't think she was old enough. And then I did the math and I'm like, oh my God, she is old enough.
Oh my gosh.
Good story. Sorry. Okay. What was the first movie you saw in a theater that you remember?
When I was little, it was very rare for all 5 of us to go to the movie theater together for a movie. But all 5 of us were there. It was Bug's Life. I think my brother must have been a little baby. But my dad came, like all 5 of us were there. And I remember I got to bring like my Happy Meal toy from Bug's Life. And it was like the big blue beetle that has like the deep voice. And it was cool.
Okay. Mine was Titanic.
Wow, you are very cool.
I don't know if it was the first one, but it was the first, I don't know. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I put this on here. What was the first trip that you didn't go with like your parents, that you were with friends?
I would say it was the marching band trip the first time I went to California. I was a freshman and... Oh, wait, no, it was not. Well, that was with friends I knew. The first time I went on a trip without my parents, I was 13 years old and I was... what do I call myself? A performer in a Christian evangelical group called the Young Continental Singers. And for 6 weeks, I toured the Midwest singing and dancing. And I guess apparently it was the hardest 6 weeks of my mom's life.
That's really funny. There was 2 trips the summer after I graduated high school. I can't remember exactly which was the first, but it was either I went to Denver because one of my friends had moved there over the summer, and I went with her sister. It was either that or that same summer I went to the Warped Tour in Chicago.
That's so cool. Oh, I wish I was as cool as you.
I'm super cool. Thank you. What was the first concert you remember going to?
Okay, there's a cool one and kind of a lame one. One time, I think my sister's the only person that's gonna like share this like feeling with me. There was a group that came to our church to sing, and they were from somewhere in Africa. They spoke Swahili. They had they were selling cassette tapes, and I just loved the music so much. And my sister, I know for sure I hope she still has the cassette tape of these like people that sing in Swahili, because she played it in her car the day she drove me to my wedding, and it was just like a good feeling. That's the first concert I think I remember. But like the coolest like first concert, like a real concert in a venue, I saw Skillet and Super Chick, and it was very cool.
I don't know who that is.
They are like Christian punk rock of the early 2000s.
Yeah, that was it's a life I didn't live.
What was your first concert?
Leanne Rimes, Iowa State Fair with my grandma.
Oh.
What was the first presidential election you voted in?
I feel bad that I'm not sure if I remember. I think it was Obama's second term.
Mine was his first term. That would have been your first, because that was 2008, and then that would have been 2012.
Okay, yeah. So Obama's, second term, yeah.
What was your first smartphone, and when was that?
I was so cool. Please believe me about how cool I was. I had a Motorola Razr, and
Girl, that's not a smartphone.
Oh, I thought it was just the first phone.
No, your first smartphone.
Oh, my first smartphone was I remember they couldn't print me a receipt. It was a phone. at Walmart. They couldn't print me a receipt, so she just gave it to me for free. And it was like, it was some crappy Samsung something because the company changed ownership and they required everybody to get new phones. So it was just like my replacement that I think was only going to cost me like $5, but she just gave it to me for free because she couldn't print me a receipt.
Nice.
It was trash. But I mean, shortly after that, I switched to iPhone.
My first was a BlackBerry.
Oh, cool.
Do you remember the first time you saw an iPod?
Yeah, I was on the bus for like probably a band trip or something, and I was just blown away that like you didn't need to put CDs in it. The songs like just were there. Like you didn't have to bring your case of CDs. Like the whole thing just was so wild to me.
I have similar memories, but I don't know the first time I saw one, but I know the first time I had one, it was really big and it was really heavy, and I probably still have it somewhere if I looked hard enough, but it was the first, I think it was the first color iPod.
Wow.
Good story.
That's very cool.
There's 3 left.
I'm not ashamed. I'm happy to share mine.
How old were you the first time you remember being drunk?
It was the only time I've ever been drunk. It was a total accident. It was because I couldn't do math. The drink had a much higher alcohol content than I bargained for, and I ordered 2 and I drank them really fast, and I also didn't have like hardly any dinner, and I was just an idiot.
Well, how old were you? Were you 21?
I was probably 22, maybe, I'm gonna guess. Maybe 23, 22 or 23, and I'll never do it again. And yeah, that's it.
Mine is not as proud of a statement. I was in high school. It was with a friend, so I was probably 16. Have you ever smoked a cigarette?
I am too afraid.
Okay.
Or to smoke other things.
So you have never smoked anything?
I've never smoked anything. I thought I had the courage once or twice, but like the what ifs just take over. Yeah, like the what ifs just like consume my mind, and I can't go through with it.
I like smoked for like a month of my life. And by smoked, I don't think and this was cigarettes. I don't even think I did it right. I was probably 21 and I smoked Camels, and they had this little thing in the filter, and when you bit on it, it turned it into a menthol. It was called a Camel Crush.
Cool.
What was the first car that you bought in your own name?
It was a Subaru Legacy Outback, and we really loved it, and actually drove it to Iowa, the only time my husband's been out to Iowa. And then later that summer, it exploded in a Culver's parking lot. And I was really like, that was like the biggest purchase we'd ever made. And it was like, I was really upset and devastated. And so after that, we were about to go on that trip to the Dominican Republic. So we had to buy a vehicle. Ugh. This is like, I hate this story, but it's fine. So we drove to the nearest city and went to the dealership, and we went to the Kia dealership, and we said, give us the cheapest brand new vehicle you have. And we didn't negotiate. We paid sticker price. Ugh, we got a loan. It was awful, but like, it was like, we had no way of getting, like, this was days before we were supposed to fly out for our trip, and we had no way of getting down there. My little red car was not going to make it. So the Subaru was the first one, and then that Kia that my husband drives, it's his like commuter vehicle now.
Nice. My first car that I bought was a Honda Civic that I bought.
That's a good car.
2013.
Wow.
I think. All right. Well, thanks again for listening. Follow us on Instagram at Crying and Dying. Lizzie, you have
Please
any
share with
final
a
words?
friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
My final word, share with a friend. And please let us know your own firsts that are funny, or if there's anything you related to or whatever. We love DMs and we love to hear your stories. So just, yeah, let's hear what you have to say. Thanks for listening, you guys, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye. I feel like that's how I have to end every episode. Okay, bye.